Hello, just giving you an update on the Electroculture experiment here in my garden in Phuket. I think I did this about a week ago, and as you can see, we got some pretty intense growth going on here. If you're not familiar with Electroculture or what I've actually done here, it's simply a case of putting copper wire, which you can see here, and I've wrapped around this bamboo stake and put it in the ground, and there's another one over there. So there are lots of different methods of doing this, but basically the idea of Electroculture is that you grab energy from the air, from the ether, however you want to call it, and you get that energy into the soil with copper wire is supposed to be a good one to use. So that's what I've used here. And compared to how it was a week ago, we got quite a lot of growth. One thing I did, I kind of just on my own, without any kind of I suppose direction or instructions or anything like that, is just my idea that you can see that, you know, this all the way into the ground, so that it's about into the ground about a foot, so the metal is going into the ground. My idea was to just kind of have this going in, that's kind of one side, one terminal, and then there's some people would put a wire in between, but I'm just having the wire. There's no wire in between. There's nothing between these apart from soil. So there's one over here and one over here. So that's the setup. Okay, we've added a few things here. We've got so this is basically it's a Thai melon. It will be a sweet melon. I'll just see if I've got any little. There's one. Okay, can you see this? Okay, that's, where is it? Are you getting that in the picture or not? There you go. Okay, these are going to turn out to be melons, so obviously we've kind of given this trestle to go along because they are creepers. And we have things like this mustardy, wasabi kind of tasting thing. They're all shooting up. They're obviously competing for space here, and they seem to enjoy this. We do plan to put some more bamboo sticks in, so they've got some more space to climb up with. You can see a few other things coming on here. So just as a comparison, I mean, it's probably worth going back to look at the other videos. I mean, these are still looking, these are not the richest color, really, this lettucey stuff. It's certainly bigger than last time. We've got fennel as well. They're getting bigger. And then I honestly don't know if there is a difference here, but this doesn't, comparatively, these guys over here being outside this kind of loop I might have created with the Electroculture wires there. These don't seem to have grown that much. They are putting up with a lot of intense sunlight and heat at the moment. So I would say offhand, without making a comparison, that we do have more growth over here with these lettuce types that were they were just poking up. I think they were about the same size and maybe even smaller than these ones over here. So yeah, well, obviously worth going and having a look at that. So from the previous video, but yeah, there we go. I mean, again, this is in Phuket. We're near the equator, so things do grow very fast. So these guys are looking better. This is basil, Thai basil. That's lovely. Then again, these are outside of this kind of if I have created such a thing, this kind of loop or whatever, this kind of, where you could maybe consider it positive, negative, I don't know. Oh, where are my glasses gone? Let's have a look. Oh, who's in the chat? Hello. All right, Zeus got hi. Okay, we just plain truth. Hello. You are first. Execrate. Hello, mate. All right. How you doing, Andrew? All right. And Ether veggies. Yes, that's exactly it, Travis. Zeus got hello. E200. And who else we got? Oh, goodness me. I haven't got my glasses. Give me a second, I'll go and get my glasses. Glenn, hello. Is the soil wet? Yes, of course, definitely keeping it wet here. I mean, this gets watered. I've got this, kind of watered daily. So, yes, it's doing fine. Maybe the dog's going to try and help me keep it. What are you doing, Brownie? What are you looking for, eh? What are you doing there? Who else? All right, Nick, folks, just recently heard about Electroculture. Think I'll look into it. Yeah. So, I mean, as I said before, really, I'm not sure whether it's really would make that much difference here, because we're getting a huge amount of sunlight and stuff. It's very nutrient-rich soil. But anyway, we'll see. There does seem to be a bit of a difference there. And obviously, there are different ways you can experiment with this. So, but these basically, these have shot up from the last time. They were barely there last time. These have definitely come on. These kind of mustardy plants here. Okay, it's got a lovely honeysuckle over here. This is not part of the electroculture, but this is a lovely honeysuckle that comes out at this time of year. This is another kind of jasmine style bush. And you can see I had wheatgrass there, didn't make it. We just left. It was in the sun too much. Should have given it more shade. So unfortunately, the wheatgrass didn't make it there. All right. So yeah, I'll just. This is some other lettuce, but that's just being left to do its own thing. Yeah. Let me turn this around. Have a chat with you all. See how you're doing. All right. Yeah, it's going to be it's basically the summer holiday now. It will be for the kids are on holiday because it is New Year for the Thais. It's Songkran. It's the Songkran period, so there's going to be kind of water throwing for a couple of days. Hello, V Thomas. Good to see you, my man. Approaching the holidays. High season still rocking and rolling here in Phuket, so I'm pretty busy dealing with things going on at the elephant sanctuary. Generally, I would like to, as we're doing garden stuff. What's happened to me? Oh, gulab, eh? Oh, you need. Let me just show you this rose that's come up. But this is I've got some aloe vera here as well. This is fantastic stuff. We managed to grab this, save this, and so there's the rose, but it goes all the way up there. And actually, I don't know why someone's decided to make a little get. I did have it up there against that, but now it's all trailing across here now. So all right, whatever. That's up to wifey, what she wants to do. Here is an interesting little tree. These fruits are see these fruits here. They're like gooseberries. They're very, very sour. I don't necessarily like them, but some of my kids like them. But they just keep on growing. There's some more there. So it's like an Asian version of the gooseberry, but it's on a tree rather than a bush. Yeah. What else can I show you? Oh yes. So the elephant dung there. I expect we'll get some mushrooms popping up there. That will be nice edibles for the holiday, if you know what I mean. Yeah. So yeah, all sorts going on really. But that's what I wanted to show you as far as the electroculture goes. How are you all doing? What's that? Waiting for after breaking the fast here in Malaysia. Ah, okay. All right, yeah. So you got to wait till. Well, I got a couple of hours to go, eh? Then you can break your fast. Okay. Hang on, let me just give me a sec. I want to go and find my glasses so I can read the comments. Just a second. I didn't prepare. When, Vinay? Now I can't find my glasses. Sorry about that. You see my glasses anywhere?
Nope.
No. Oh well, I have to get by. I have to struggle on. What's that? What's that, Glenn Sarge? Can you show me water that conforms to the outside of a container? Okay. Oh, why are you just having a laugh there, Glenn? No, I can't. Yeah. All right. Okay, a couple of things. Obviously, you probably know by now that Bob Modell has passed away. I haven't had any contact directly with any of the people that were close to him. I see a lot of people have done kind of tribute videos and stuff, which is cool. I don't think I'll be doing one because, well, for no particular reason than that's probably best left to those that had a much closer relationship with him. The only interactions I ever had were a few in online chats and with, well, sometimes he came over to me when I was doing a live and I've been over there, or with other people on live streams. Oh, the dog's going nuts. What's up, Brownie? Hey? She loves it because everyone's home. She gets like this when everyone's home. Today is a day when everyone's home. All right. Where you going? Where you going? Hey? Where you going? Hey? Yeah. She's about 12. About 12 now, but still very active. Yeah. So sorry. So my, obviously. So the interactions I did have with Bob were warm and friendly, and I think maybe if I just kind of repeat what I said on an answer to a tweet that went out was basically, we all, that's what I always felt, warmth from him in our interactions, even though they were online, and. Everyone we meet and come across and cross paths with. Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, that's very good of you. We, there's whether those connections last forever and we live forever and things like that. This is maybe some comfort that can, help us, that anyone that's still around. But obviously, it will be a shame not to be able to hear from him personally, but obviously did a great many things and had a I'm sure there's many other things beyond what any of us knew about him or of him from his involvement with trying to ascertain where we are in this world. So it's obviously sad, and who knows? Who knows why? We can never answer these questions as to why some of us stay for a long time, or have a short life on this earth. But really, that's, I just wanted to say that, and I hope to try and tune in to the celebration of Bob's life next week on Sunday. But it'll be 2:00 in the morning for me, so I might have to catch up with that another time. But I am looking forward to at least seeing that. So yeah. Hang on. I've got my glasses now. My daughter kindly found them for me. What's that? Glenn Sarge, what I don't like about the Globies tribute videos is they say they are giving their sincere condolences when they have done nothing but show their disgusting. I wasn't going to talk about that kind of thing, Glenn, just out of respect, but yeah. Why wait until someone's died before you show them any respect? We can all respect different opinions, and we can all respect, different, and so that's, to be honest, that's why I don't bother with any of these globe people, really, because quite often they don't treat you with respect, and they might, they don't, whether they think you deserve respect or not doesn't matter. People deserve respect. Yeah, and when you treat people with respect, you get respect in return. There's no point in waiting until someone's passed on before you start paying respects to them. Like anything, if you want to say something, if you want to make amends, if there's something you should do while someone is alive, then bloody well do it while they're alive. Don't wait until they're dead. Yeah, or passed on. Yeah, so yeah. Treat every day like it's your last day. Treat every day, every meeting with everyone that you meet like it might be the last chance you get to meet someone, because that's, the older you get, the more that happens in your life, is you hear that someone died, and then you think back to the last time you interacted with that person. Yeah. Okay, so make every interaction a positive one, or one that isn't fueled by your own narcissistic tendencies to try and win some kind of imaginary argument, because none of this is about winning an argument. Yeah, this is where the Globies make a mistake. They think that it's a contest to try and win points or win an argument, or appear better than you or more intelligent than you or something like that. It's not about that at all. And you keep trying to explain this to these people, that we're not in it to try and it's not just the shape of the earth either. It's so much more than that. It's all about understanding, or trying to get a better understanding, and work in a collaborative way to find out where we are and what we're doing here and why. But I'll tell you what, it's like that my experience with most of these globe earth trolls and their nastiness is it just, to be honest, it shows to me what the problem is you've got these people that are hell-bent on just defending their own identity, a perceived identity, and then they come rushing out and make all kinds of proclamations about their sincerity, when they've never done anything whatsoever to show any degree of sincerity at all. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah. Hang on a second. We'll wipe the glasses. Hi, Al. Yeah, here to take on tomorrow, Scott. That's right. Yeah. What's that photo? Ignoring the Holocaust questions again. I don't know who the hell you are and why you have questions about the Holocaust that none of us actually know anything about, all right? None of us were born or around at that time, all right? So, this is stupid, idiotic hang-ups and provocation with loaded questions about the Holocaust and what it's just like, fuck off. Really. Okay. Okay. John, Corey, that's good to know. Camille Strong and Zach is there to help with. Okay, that's good to know. I mean, of course, this is a time when people will come together, so that's good to know. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Well, you see, V. Thomas, yeah, I mean, you say even the Globe side have done a tribute video. There shouldn't be sides in this whole thing. It shouldn't be about sides, should it? That's not the point. That creates a dichotomy in itself. We're all just people trying to find out where we are, who we are, and why we're here. And unfortunately, it does frighten a lot of people. And we know what it's like when someone is. That's the thing, you see, when someone's nasty to you because you're talking about flat Earth, that's just their reaction. So we have to have some kind of understanding there and try and dissolve these imaginary borders that have been built up of an argument. Yeah. Just looking through the chat a minute. Yeah. Oh, I'm having some. Everything's getting very sticky. I'm not sure if this is flowing well, but what's that been me? I know someone who has done some extensive work on electroculture. I can send you his blog. Oh yes, please do. Yes, if you can't stick it in the live chat, stick it in the comments section below. Send that. That'd be much appreciated, Al. So yes, I'm interested in learning more about this. I'm just playing it by ear at the moment. So yeah. V. Thomas falling out over cosmology, though it's because it's like, isn't it how this topic creates so much anger? And I think when that's part of our learning curve, isn't it? When you see that happening in other people and also in yourself, then of course that's a sign, that's a signpost to trying to find a way to improve oneself. You can say, okay, if this topic makes me angry and turns me into a zealot, then it makes me no different to all those others. So to be honest, I've never used the word globetard because I just don't like that kind of derogative approach. It doesn't set the right tone, to be honest. We were all in that position once, and we were just fortunate enough to come across certain information, and we were fortunate enough to be in a position at that time, mentally or whatever, or even just to have the time to research it. Whereas, of course, that happens at different times for different people. Glenn, that's true. It triggers anger in the goblins because they feel like you're challenging the very fabric. Absolutely, yes, because you've challenged their belief, and because they identify with that belief, then of course it creates this very strong reaction. We know that, and this is the thing. While we understand that, if you understand that and if we empathize with that, then there's no point in going and starting arguments with any of these guys or even perpetuating arguments with these guys, because it's just going to waste your time. That what it does, they're not in the mood for listening. If they're in the mood for just being vindictive because you're upsetting their beliefs, then there's nothing you can do or say that will convince that person otherwise. It's pointless, it's futile. So they'll just drain your energy. Only when they are ready, and they might not ever be ready, can you allow them to come to you. But there's no point in trying to bash people over the head with it, is there, if they're not ready? So well, yes, Glenn, okay, calling them a globetard, but does that make, that's the thing though, mate, does it make you or I any different to them if they're saying, hey, Flurf, you're stupid, and you're saying, hey, Globetard, you don't get it? Well, then that doesn't get anyone anywhere, does it? That doesn't resolve anything. It doesn't make progress. It just keeps us stuck in this spin cycle. Yeah. And that's not what I'm interested in. I mean, I'm interested in making progress. And even if that progress is just on a personal level, or there is a few of us that really make that progress, that's fine. You know, I'm really not interested. Of course, I'm sure all of us have been through that where, oh, this changes everything. You know, if only people would wake up to it. Unfortunately, you know, this is like, okay, for a lot of us, it's what, 5-7 years on, and you've got these same people stuck in the same mindset. A lot of these people that identify with their globe belief are probably in their 40s, 50s, 60s. And unfortunately for them, they are unable to change. And we know that, of course, they're defending their belief with anything that they can throw at you, anything except any actual science or any actual measurement. Yeah. So I just, you know, what's the point in arguing with these people? If people ask genuine questions, and there are a few, when they come along and they ask questions, I've had it recently a few times where someone's come along and they've said, okay, this is a genuine question, and there's a couple of questions, and that's it. They go away, and you know that what you said or what you've replied to them, and they're now thinking about it. But when it comes to the trolls and you know, these people defending their belief, then they'll be straight back at you as if they didn't listen to what you had to say. They didn't have time to think. They didn't want to even think about it. Yeah, and so you know that they are not ready to hear the answers to the questions that they're asking, just because they're just trolling you anyway. Yeah. So that's okay, but that's the thing. You see, what you know, if it's like when you if you're in a situation where there is an escalation of animosity until it becomes a point where there's going to be violence, then what do you do? What's the best advice to you? Do you try and throw some kind of punch that you've learned to defend yourself, and like a one punch, and that will just knock them out? Or do you just back off? You know, there's always going to be someone or something that instigates that next step and the next step and the next step until it escalates to the point where, you know, goodness knows what happens. You know, real violence comes about. Yeah. So this is the thing. If you're not intending to use real violence, and you're only talking about it or trying to use words in a hurtful way, I'm not playing that game. That's not the game I'm doing here. You know, it's not a battle of wits. Yeah. So this is why, you know, I don't use words like globetards just to get them back or just to give them a taste of their own medicine, because that doesn't do anything for me. It doesn't benefit anyone in any way, because all you do is create another reaction, rather than, you know what I mean? If you go to someone, you think about this, right? If you've been in a situation where you did something that wasn't quite right, you know, whatever it might be, and it was like someone that, and you had to go and face that person again, knowing that you'd been a little bit, you hadn't been quite honest with them or direct or something. There's, you know, we've all had these situations where you've made a promise or something like that. You didn't keep your promise, or you did something that was a bit selfish, whatever it might be. And then you run into that person again. It's the way that person reacts will very much dictate how things go. So what's amazing is when someone doesn't react in the way that, you know, let's say you've done something wrong, whatever it is, you feel guilty, and then you run into that person, you're expecting that person to be nasty, to be, what do you think you're doing? Da, 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 da. I hate you, you know, we're not friends anymore, whatever. Yeah. But what if that person embraces you as usual, or even without any animosity, without, as if the bad thing you did didn't happen? That changes the whole dynamics of the situation. And it's having that awareness that I'm interested in developing, that kind of consciousness That's what I'm interested in developing, so that we can all get along. Yeah, because if you're trying to force a certain, if you found freedom and liberation and your life has been changed by flat Earth, great. It certainly has for me. There are so many, but it's all part of many other things as well. It's all part of that journey of self-discovery and self-improvement. Yeah. That's all part of it. And I'm so glad that I came across that, because then I was able to free myself from so many other things and see the illusion and delusion for what it is, that whole materialistic globalist thing. Absolutely wonderful. Flat Earth has done so many things to improve life in general, or the way we see life in our mind's eye for the most part. Yeah. But apart from that, that it's not going to help someone that isn't ready to hear it. Yeah. And you're not going to help yourself. You're not going to do yourself or them any favors by trying to win some imaginary argument. This is it. You've got to get away from trying to win something by outwitting or outdoing that other person, by trying to think of something that kind of, again, that knockout punch, if you,
So it's not only just us that does that.
again, that's so, I'm kind of going off on, and I might risk repeating myself, but does that make sense? What's that one man try? Talking to people about the Earth rising gives you the same gravity as the pulling force. I go globally, and I prefer that to globe card. I'm kind of... Oops. Hang on. Facing the wrong way. Oh, hello, Ian. Boom me. I just call them normies. There is no need for insults. Yeah, okay, fair enough. And that's the thing. I wish you could converse with some of these. Glenn, as far as I do understand, because obviously, usually they are the first to instigate this. It's like, you get some video made, reaction video, and they're calling you all the names under the sun, and they take the time to make some kind of, and that's the thing though, it's like they're just being children. Do not stoop to that level. This is the thing. This is all about growing up. This whole thing is about growing up and being able to admit that we don't know where we are. So trying to give them other ideas and alternatives and kind of win over with your view against their view is not going to do anyone any favor. It's just like, okay, let's get to that point where we're all quite comfortable with saying, I don't know where we are. Tell Zoo Scott, tell Live Visions, Max Headroom, I remember that. Left Kung Fu, hello. One man. Yes, you're right, Glenn, because they know damn well an adult has a more mature mind to be more rational. Yes, and yeah. I just wish, I would love to have just adult conversations on the level with these guys, but unfortunately, they find it very difficult to get out of that childish mindset because they're all supporting each other. And there obviously seems to be a trend of, okay, someone wants to make their YouTube channel popular. So, okay, let's have a pop at the flat earthers because that's a trendy thing to do. But again, it doesn't bother me. I'm actually fine about it because let's say that person gets 3,000 views, 5,000 views, 20,000 views on their video. In fact, the more views they get on their anti-flat earth video, the better, because it means more will come. The subject has been introduced to more people. And the more these globalings try desperately to use indirect evidence, opinion, sophistry, and all that stuff, the more people with real discernment, and those are the people we're interested in, will actually come along to investigate flat Earth and start asking serious questions. Yeah, so it's fine. Yeah. Left Kung Fu, yes. The art of fighting without fighting, definitely. Yeah, and this is the thing about the Asian culture. It's very subtle in that respect. It's taught me to be very patient. And yes, I'm fighting some battles with certain individuals, but it's kind of fun in that way to play it strategically. But I don't go for the name calling and the derogatory statements. Yeah. Zoo Scott. Yes, V. Thomas, some people are looking for fights, some are not. Absolutely, totally agree. And there's no denying that it takes all sorts. Some people are warriors on this earth. And that's fine. Again, that's fine. I don't have a problem with all the different kinds of personalities that can come about. That's fine. It's all part of. Even when you meet nasty people. As far as I'm concerned, that's fine. Because it's a chance to learn. I'm grateful for many of the globies that have shown me what it's like to not have an open mind, what it's like to be bigoted, what it's like to be a narcissist, and how not to be like that, how to improve oneself. So that's absolutely fine. Yeah. And again, it would be silly to deny that these kinds of people exist. They exist everywhere. And again, this leads other people to understand that there are psychopaths among us. There are people that will only ever do anything for their own gain, whether it's introducing medicine to the masses or whatever. Huh? Oh, yeah, it's on me. All right. So, my daughter asking if she can walk past without interfering. That's okay. No, it's on me at the moment. So yeah, again, we're in this world where predators exist, and so we must artfully navigate our way around that. And of course, sometimes you just want to give up. Sometimes you just want to say, screw this for a game of soldiers. I don't want to play soldiers, But who knows? Did we choose to come here? Were we put here? Were we forced here? Who knows? I don't have answers to that, and I can always contemplate it. But that's it is tough. It's tough to and of course I think sometimes when people are having their own issues, of course they take it out on the people that they feel they can take it out on. So Ian, growth you mentioned. Yes, I think I know what you're saying there. What's that, Zoo Scott? Caned? Caned or canned? I don't know. They were birched. Okay, who was birched? Hang on, I'm going back through the chats here. What's that? Yes, find. What's that? One man, find them those that paid for their education are the hardest ones to talk to about it. Absolutely, yeah. Especially as we've talked about it before, I'm sure. But yeah. You can imagine some of these trolls that we get. You totally understand. Why they identify with this belief of the globe. You absolutely know. And ultimately, what's the best thing to do there? There's no point in fighting them. The best thing is to have compassion for that person, because unfortunately, they and the people around them will be affected by that narrow-mindedness. And I'm sure we've all got experiences, it might even be dealing with our parents or whatever, where they might not ever change. They grow up, they grow old, and they remain the same person. They don't change. They might have learning, they might have experiences, they might learn a few things along the way, but they might go to their grave, and they're still not free. They're still not liberated from, the enslavement of the cultural programming in the first place. Yeah. So and that's not to kind of like just, oh, I feel sorry for them. That's not to be like that's not with a superiority kind of complex. That's just with, again, it's a shame when people fight over false dichotomies. Yeah, it's a shame when people end up causing suffering to themselves and to other people through some kind of rigid beliefs that, whatever they might be, I think it's sad, because we could. This was a nice thing about talking with Travis the other day. I mean, it's like, yeah, if we could all be appreciative of each other, we could all get along. But of course, we don't live in a world like that. And we live in a world where, from time to time, mass psychosis takes over. And we should be really acutely aware of that. That's the thing. We're not. Yeah. It does turn into insanity. Thank you, Boomy, for whatever example that was you were talking about it. Zeus got flooded with consciousness. Nice, I like that, yeah. Glenn, the only thing that work needed to succeed is for Earthers to do nothing. The only thing for wicked need to... yeah, I agree with your point there, Glenn. Obviously, if you see evil, and that's probably why we're all doing this, right? We see that people have been compromised. We see that they have been enslaved. They literally have been enslaved. And of course, again, if someone's being nasty and narcissistic, or they're trying to get one over on you, and they're trying to belittle you and all that kind of thing, that's the thing. That they are actually suffering. That they're the one with the problem, not you. But they have the problem, and it's up to them to deal with it. But of course, they'll deflect and project onto you. Yeah. So yeah, in that sense, I totally agree with you, Glenn. Yeah. One man, the children that looked out of the window at school were the lucky ones. Didn't stare at a blackboard filled with secondhand information. Nature will teach. Yeah, absolutely right. One man, isn't it true? And human nature is we've all got. We can all think of examples where we started to grow up, and you start to realize that, okay, these teachers and these adults aren't as clued up as I thought they were. Everyone has faults. They're just human. Even the politicians, whoever, these people and this is it. That's why when people say, "Oh, you think you're smarter than Einstein?" It's like, well, no, you just understand that Einstein was given this elevated status for thinking of a formula which does nothing more than describe certain things and use his own imagination to think about this, that, and the other, or Newton or whoever it might be. These people are given elevated status for doing what? For coming up with a formula. And okay, they thought things through, and they might have been revolutionaries for their time, but that that doesn't make. I mean, this is the thing. We, of course, now we've that's some of that. For example, 2 times r pi times pi is like a formula that we all know, we're all taught it. But of course, there was a time when that was revolutionary. It's like, oh my goodness, yes, the circumference of a circle is about 3.14 times the radius. Yeah, it's like, oh, okay, and that was kind of revolutionary at the time. Now it's just normal, But that's all the globe is based on, isn't it? But yeah, it's clever for someone to have thought of that, but it doesn't apply to life, the universe, and everything, does it? It doesn't answer all the questions. Or F equals ma. Glenn, okay, that's a good point. Do you really think the wicked are going to cease being wicked because we refrain from participating? No, not at all. Not at all, no. And of course, again, awareness that there are predators about, and the moment you put your face in public and stuff like that, they'll go for you and they'll ridicule you. No, I don't think it will stop them being wicked, but I'm not going to let myself be affected by that wickedness. Yeah. Again, back to your point where you said that you shouldn't do nothing when you see evil being perpetuated. But of course, this is the thing. We see people perpetuating the evil by themselves, but on their own accord. Look at what happened with the Rona. Look at what happened. Look how quickly and easily people were prepared to dob each other in, start creating Nazi-style camps, to concentration camps, start to tell you that you couldn't get on the same train as them, or you didn't have the right to work or earn a living if you didn't get jabbed. Look how quickly that psychological operation became part of a large majority of the, they were just, and yes, it did create this division. What's happening now is the big, the kind of I told you so. And what, again, so to what extent could you fight it at that time? You couldn't fight it really at that time. It was this mass psychosis that you had to let it play out, and you had to let people realize their own folly. And even now, you see a lot of people, especially those that did get jabbed and were kind of pointing the finger like the body snatchers. They will never admit. They'll kind of make oh, well, it was, the science changed, and so I changed my opinion, and blah, blah, blah. I think I brought up Piers Morgan the other day. Really, no, I don't really think he deserves any kudos, because what he's doing is just making a smart move and kind of seeing the tide change, and then kind of finding some safe middle ground for himself. There is no virus. There was no virus. That's it. It doesn't exist. The pandemic was in everyone's minds. It was with everyone wearing the masks and all the other actions. But you just see how quickly people jumped on board. What could you do? Of course, a lot of us, it was like, okay, we were thinking, okay, now there's no point in me fighting the authorities, and there's no point in trying to change people's minds. They are not listening. I've got to look after myself and my family. I've got to grow my own food. I've got to, so ultimately all of this comes down to that bringing back to yourself. You can't, you can't end up, it's difficult, isn't it? Because yes, you see evil being carried out. You want to stop it. But unfortunately, self-preservation is also a thing that you must do, especially when you have kids and a wife to look after. That's your priority. Your priority isn't changing the minds of Joe Public, all right? The best thing you can do is keep away from those temporarily crazy fuckers. Look after yourself and look after your family. That's all any of us can do. So, yeah. Yeah, cool, Glenn. No hard feelings, mate. I just, Glenn, this is all, I could be totally wrong in what I'm saying. Welcome discussion. Absolutely. There's no animosity, man. Really. It's good to hash these things out and to discuss these, because otherwise it's just me talking to a phone. Yeah. V. Thomas, do not engage the sophist. Blue pill, or just block them like I do. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Of course, when when you block someone, they consider that a victory. It's like they consider that they've antagonized you to the point that you have to block them because you've got no answer, you've got no argument. So no, you're just too thick-headed and pig-headed to actually have a decent conversation. So I'm not going to waste my time with that, and that's why I do. The only reason I do leave some of the globies, allow them, is because again they just dig their own graves if you give them enough spades and time. Yeah. Boomy asks, is their level of consciousness too low and the school system has built up their egos too high? Yeah, not only the school system, but yeah, I think it's something we have to learn. You do have to learn it. I was talking to my son about this. There are, most of my kids are quite extrovert, but I've got one that's quite introvert, that's a bit shy. But so I was saying to him, actually, to be honest, that's the thing, because meeting people and talking to strangers is challenging for you. Unfortunately, what you've got to do is face those challenges even more than someone who is extrovert and it's easy for them, because when you do, then you get used to kind of, you get to overcome those fears. The best way to overcome a fear is to do it, is to do the thing that scares you. Not necessarily put yourself in danger, but unfortunately there's going to be greater challenges in that respect. So maybe I've kind of gone off from the question. So Bumi is their level of consciousness too low? Well, it's tough, isn't it? Because so much is going to be, so much of what makes, again, do we arrive on this? Are we born with a particular personality? We probably are. And are we going to have certain experiences in our life that are kind of mapped out to teach us certain lessons? Quite possibly. But so many things are going to shape the way we deal with life, aren't they? So ultimately, raising that level of consciousness, I think it's interesting. That's a really interesting question now, because in a Buddhist society, for example, the society I live in here in Thailand, there is, I would say, in general, a lot more consciousness about one's position in society with other people. But at the same time, that doesn't work. Not everyone is like that. A lot of people are very, very selfish, especially on the roads and things like that, or when it comes to queuing up or things like that. It's weird, because the culture itself is, I would say, it's very much more conscious and conscientious than, say, English society. But then again, there is still a high level of selfishness. Yeah. So it's a wonderful culture, but you could still end up getting shot or killed or something by someone with road rage, just because they're in their own headspace. And the other day, it happened to me the other day, this massive articulated, well, not articulated, it was just a 7-ton truck or something, bombing down the road right up my arse, and I couldn't move because there were cars all around me. There's motorbikes, and this guy was going from the far right lane to the left lane, nearly ran, and just really kind of like breaking the speed limit, just revving it and just creating absolute havoc. Big truck, for everyone else on the road. And we got to the traffic lights, and then he rolled down. It was funny because he just tried to zoom ahead. He was getting all frustrated. But then by the time it got to the traffic lights, we ended up pulling up side by side. He ran down his window, started shouting at me. I hadn't done anything except maintain my speed and my position in my lane, because I couldn't move anyway. But that pissed him off. And I said, "What's the hurry, man? What's the hurry?" And this is a kind of Thai truck driver, and he was just getting all leery. And I wanted to say, and I didn't, it was just because the adrenaline was going. But, that was one of those situations where he could have hopped out of his truck with a machete and started chopping me to bits, just because he had the road rage. He might have been high on the yaba or the methamphetamines, which a lot of them are a lot of the time, especially given the way he was driving, but not a care in the world, not a care. He said, "Oh, I'm going to work. I'm rushing to work." I said, "What's the hurry? I'm going to work. I'm going to work." It's just like your work is more important than all the lives on the road that you just put at risk. He literally nearly ran into like parents on motorbikes with their kids and stuff like that. It was like, oh man, this guy is gonna kill someone. Yeah, that's what made me angry. It wasn't about necessarily my own safety, but the fact that he was just putting all these other people's lives at risk. And he didn't care. Because of his mindset. So yeah, the Buddhist culture wasn't working with that guy, and that's the thing, our minds can be so easily taken over. So I think again, sorry if that's answering your question, Alan. It's like just my only personal opinion is that it's always doesn't matter what culture you come from, it's always going to be a personal journey, and it's never going to result in the same thing. You know, seeking these, we're truth seekers. We're all truth seekers in that respect. We all want to find out, and we have to have certain crazy experiences to find out our truth. And sometimes that might end up with us doing something really, really bad and suffering the consequences of it. But that's what's needed to teach us a lesson. I don't know, you know, but it's difficult to get people. So it doesn't matter what kind of environment you bring people up in sometimes. I mean, this is, I suppose, the point. It's like, is there anything that would really make a difference to whether someone is going to grow up being narcissistic or an empath? I don't know. I honestly don't have the answer. Glenn, Nick, I've learned that the wicked just likes to see their own reflection around them, showing them what they really look like is the only way they see. Yeah, okay, appreciate that, man. Yeah. I'd say that sometimes the only way to do that is to allow them. You have to give them the space to see their own reflection. Yeah, you can't. Yeah, it's just like talking about flat Earth and talking about all the things. You know, it's like look around you, look at it. Everything around you tells you the Earth is not spinning ball. But if the mind is not there, ready to see, then it doesn't make any difference. Zeus got free advertising. Glenn, I could be wrong, but much of their wickedness comes from arrogance and inflated ego, hence why they like inflated ball. Yeah. It's true, yeah, it's true. You got to reel the ego in, hasn't it? I learned to do that, you know, especially with the newspaper. In fact, coming to Phuket, when I came to Phuket, 20 years ago now, that was, you know, I knew that I was coming to a small, closely knit community, and I had to play my cards right if I was going to fit in and be successful, because I've seen so many people just come and go. You know, they come along full of bravado, the ego does all the talking, and then they bugger out. Of course, Bangkok is different, because Bangkok is a place where you can be very much anonymous. You can just, you know, come in and fuck around and go, you know, whereas here in Phuket, it's a little bit different. It's more like you really got to be careful. So, you know, I've seen so many people come and go, really, all sorts. And usually, yeah, when it's like they came in strong, they came in big, and it's like, you know, yeah, you look at this, okay, you just wait for them to fall. Yeah. So Scott, what's that? Eon? Is that Eon Mark? Hello. So Scott, food of air. How far can someone leave before they themselves have gone too far away? Yeah. So Scott, imagine Nick wearing. Okay. Eon. Oh, it's Eon. Eon. At the end of the day, the truth will stand, and we shall all know the truth. We will even see him face to face.ไม่เป็นไรเข้าไปไม่เป็นไรเพื่อนบ้านแหละก็อยู่กันได้ไม่เป็นไร Yeah. Absolutely right. Yeah, Glenn, again, agree. They're all around us. Yeah. Would you do the trip? Zeus asking me if I want to do the trip back to the UK again. Yeah, I mean, you know, my intention was, obviously, it was planning. It was kind of like to try and, you know, obviously with my kids here. Again, I've got my visa's coming up at the end of in a few days. I don't know what I'm going to do next. I'll probably have to leave the country or something like that. It depends, or if I can wangle another year. This is the thing. I am still always a temporary person here. It's never permanent, you know. So this is something I feel very strongly that I have to be able to give to my kids. And so, yes, I do want to do the UK thing, but to be honest, I don't have the support that in the UK that I could do with, as far as, you know, relatives that would be willing to kind of, you know, It's so weird. It's so weird. And unfortunately, it's because, you've got, you see here, it's funny because my 20 odd year old daughter is still with us because it's fine. There's no pressure. We enjoy each other's company. It's fine. She has a home to come back to. There's absolutely no think, oh, you've got to get out, you've got to do your own thing. She is doing her own thing. She's doing absolutely fine. She's doing fantastically all on her own. She's made her own, carved out her own niche and everything. She's doing fantastically. But it doesn't mean she has to leave home. We still operate as a family unit. And I love that because it was totally the opposite for me when I was growing up. It's like when you're 20 years old, you've got to get out of the house, and that was repeatedly told to me. And so, yeah, that's pretty much what happened. That's the way it goes, So going back is, it's the thing. So yes, to answer your question, sorry, very long-winded. Yes, I would. It would be ideal if, especially for my kids and my wife, that they have a foot in both places. Oh, what did you do there? Is it okay? And I think it's fantastic to have a taste of both cultures. There's one's not better than the other. There are good things that and in a way, my kids are being they're being brought up in this kind of at least bi-cultural thing, where they've got the Thai culture and they've got my English culture as well and the languages. So yes, I would love to. There's a lot of great things about the UK. There's some horrible crap that goes on, but actually, to be honest, I was pleasantly surprised that, a lot of that niceness of the English culture still exists, it's still there. I met some wonderful people again, some really helpful, nice, open, genuine, authentic, gentle men and gentle women. Lovely people, but unfortunately, yes, you have to put up with all the tossers as well, and especially with the very, very strong media. But again, it's the same here. It's the same here. You've got a culture that is very much perpetuated by the media. Obviously, because you can feel separate from it, but ultimately it still obviously affects you. So yes, I would love to come back, and I would love to catch up with more people there if I can. What's that? Who's asking that question? Hello again, where is my answer? I'm not sure. I can't even read who that's from and what the question is. Glenn Souch, it's beyond mental awareness. They have an entire worldwide machine grinding away at humanity's sanity. Oh yeah. I mean, it's a challenge, isn't it? Not to get gobbled up by the machine. So Scott, they know what they do, and that's true as well, isn't it? That's true. Oh dear, you want about density? So here we go. I never did get my answer as to why density makes objects fall down. No one's saying that density makes objects fall down. All anyone can measure and show with variables is that a dense object in a less dense medium will fall. An object, a mass that is less dense than the medium, will rise. That's it. I've talked about, some ideas about the medium itself actually squeezes, but that's not to say I have a definite answer. But that's ridiculous, because what answer does anyone have? Nobody knows. You got to go back to how was this place created? I mean, we can, for example, look, I can point at that truck, and I can tell you how it works. I don't know how. Of course, it's a diesel engine, blah, 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 and I know how it kind of works. And that one over there is a petrol engine. I know how that works. Yeah, and there's a difference between how they work. But if you didn't know anything about those, if man hadn't created these machines, imagine we had no technology and we came across these machines and we found out they could drive and go places. Well, it's just like, it's a ridiculous thing, to try and pin people down on these ridiculous gotcha questions. It's just pathetic. Nobody knows. And the thing is, nobody can answer the question of gravity. You go and ask one of these top scientists or one of these actors, Neil deGrasse or whatever. At least they admit that they don't know what it is. And it's like the article I read about dark matter the other day. It's just like everyone is floundering about in the dark, man. So don't come along with stupid questions about density and stuff like that, and make assumptions that any of us are claiming that this is the cause of whatever makes things go up and down. I mean, oh God, it's just silly. It's just like, it's like trying to play chess, but you only think one move ahead. You don't have the capacity to think more than 2 or 3 moves ahead. It's just fucking stupid. So no, you're not going to get an answer. We don't know why. We don't know why or how any of this exists in the first place. That's where you got to start before you start making any assumptions. So don't come here with stupid questions like that, trying to think. And that's the thing. You think it's embarrassing to say I don't know. This is the problem. This is kind of goes with your point, Glenn. The Glober is like, they're so sure of their answer that they find it impossible to say I don't know. They feel they have to have an answer, and they think that this is the thing. They come at you with these questions, with these so-called gotcha questions, because they think, in the way their minds work, is that you have to have an answer, and if you don't have an answer, it's really embarrassing for you. Couldn't give a toss. It's liberating to be able to say I don't know, and it's liberating, and it's fun, and it's nice to think about. There's a gazillion possibilities. No, we could be for any number of reasons, none of which we can really fathom because we don't know how any of this all started out. So it's absolutely fine to say, I've no idea. I don't have to give you an alternative for your peace of mind, just so you can feel that you've won an argument, or just so you can feel that you've got some other rock to cling on to because you had to let go of your ball. That's your problem, not mine. So don't try and make it our problem by asking silly questions. Because all anyone has ever done with a formula, whether it's F equals MA or E equals MC squared, is just describe what we see happening. It doesn't prove anything. It doesn't, it's so fucking easy to understand this. Yeah. It doesn't tell you the cause and effect. Dropping these glasses doesn't prove anything. It doesn't prove the shape of the earth for sure. It's just what happens. Funny. And then so you make who are you talking about the moon as well? I don't care what you think. And anything I've said, anything I think most of us have said about the moon or the sun is nothing we can ever prove, but it's another way of looking at the way it is. And you can entertain all sorts of ideas. Nothing wrong with that, because nobody knows. Get over it. Nobody knows. Nobody knows how we are here, how we got here. Nobody knows why we're here. We are absolutely free to imagine all sorts of ways we want, but we're not free to impose that on other people. If you want to be free to think about, you can be free to think of it in any way you like. So the other person has to be free to do that as well. You can't, it's like the whole free speech thing. You want free speech? Let other people speak. You can't impose how they should speak. You can't impose certain restrictions on them. Of course, again, when it comes to things like, verbal abuse and things like that, well, yeah, if ultimately you shouldn't want to cause harm to other people, whether it's physical or verbal, yeah, again, that's up to us. You can't dictate what the recipient of your words how they'll react. If you're trying to get them to react in a certain way, well, that's provocation. That's, and of course it's up to that individual to not be swayed by these things. And that's a challenge. It's tough. These are the kinds of lessons we have to learn in life. Yeah. But people end up like committing suicide over social media posts. It's like, well, you entered the realm. Unfortunately, you've got to be able to kind of handle what comes at you. But at the same time, we should be kind of taught that this is the thing. Anyone can get so involved in something, so entrenched in something that it ends up causing all sorts of grief. Happens to us all, and that's part of growing up. It's going to happen when you're a kid. You're going to get fascinated by certain aspects of a certain culture. It happens to us all. Yeah, and we've got to grow out of it. It's part of the process. It's part of why we're here. Yeah, okay, I like that one, Glenn. Yeah, about the density thing. Adam Barlett, hello. Blue pill. No trolls like duper poons are willfully ignorant. I don't know that person. Ian. Oh gosh. Wrong. Gravity is what makes dense things fall. Otherwise, an object in a vacuum chamber would not know which way. Oh God. A vacuum chamber is just less dense air. Again, it doesn't prove anything. You drop the glasses through air. A vacuum chamber is just less dense air. So yeah, something dense will fall through it. Yeah, but I don't know what causes it. Is it pressure? Is it something else? Who knows? Yeah, but you take that idea of a vacuum chamber and apply it to the Earth. Gravity is not a container. All right, so before you go thinking things like, oh, gravity, everything, pressure has to be contained, but gravity is your container. Well, that's bloody stupid because, gravity is only supposed to work on mass. So the more mass something has, the more gravitational force is acting on it, apparently. So all these air molecules with very little mass will just go, all right? So even with the application of the theory of gravity as a container, doesn't work. The theory doesn't fit with with anything, with reality or with the other theories that go with it. All right, so you're on a losing thing to start with. I got two glasses. Got two pairs of glasses here. Oh dear. Yeah. So what? So what? If things fall in a vacuum chamber, because you're always going to have a less dense object. There's no density. A vacuum chamber has no density, so even a feather that's more dense will fall at the same rate as a hammer. So what? Doesn't prove anything. But it proves that we're not flying about at ridiculous speeds, because if we were flying about at ridiculous speeds around the sun and everything, there would be no layers of density. We see these layers of density when everything settles. Yeah. So that's demonstrable that the Earth is not moving. When you start throwing things about, you throw a bottle of water or something, or you drop it, then all of a sudden the water's going everywhere and it's just free flowing on its own, right? It's just, there's no gravity pulling it or pushing it or whatever. Well, the Earth isn't like that. The Earth is layers of density, so it's not being chucked around in a vacuum and at ridiculous speeds that would cause all sorts of stuff to happen, is it? It's demonstrably level and stationary. But beyond that, no idea how, Stupid. Yeah, energy is joules, BTUs of calories. Tony Whitcomb. Fight the Flat Earth doesn't know people as he ate all of them. I like that. Bit mean, but I like it. You see, the thing is, whatever your name is, Beam, whatever, you globe trolling, you have to understand that being able to measure the rate of acceleration that a mass falls through air has been used
as a way to come up with this imaginary theory of gravity, which is a requirement because otherwise it would be physically impossible to stick to the outside of a globe. So they have to come up with some. How can we get it across to people that how can we have this idea that we're on the outside of a spinning globe? You need a force to make you stick to it. So that's why this whole idea of gravity is so important to the globe. Yeah, but that's it. It's not a proof of anything. Yeah, it's just been misled. It's just a great example of how misled, indirect evidence, idiotic indirect evidence. Rather than saying, okay, B Messina or whatever your name is, rather than saying, I've got a measure of curvature. You instead of actually having that, the fundamental thing that you require to prop up your belief, what you're gonna say is talk about gravity and assume all sorts of things about it. DeGrasse ate the pies first. Yeah, okay, Ian, you get on him. Get him to show an example. Martin! Hello, mate. Oi, oi. Good to see you, my man. You all right? Oh, wow. Okay. Zeus got like a dead salmon. He goes with the flow. All right. Oh, Brian. Okay, thank you. Whatever what that was that you think. Yeah, they have wars. Okay, yeah, chimpanzees have wars too. So, can we not elevate ourselves from that, whatever it was? Dead salmon, Percy. Okay, you've lost me there, Zeus Scott. Dead salmon, Percy Morgan. Okay. Was Percy a person in the chat?
Yes, Sebastian.
Yeah, it's kind of like I find this whole argument about things falling and stuff like that. It's just like, yeah, of course. At first, it's you start questioning gravity and the way it's supposed to be a pulling force and all that stuff, and you try to come up with other things, But it's like the moon as well. I've given up trying to think too much about that, because either way you don't have an answer. So we could all talk about, yes, for example, electromagnetism, electrostatic or whatever is all very much a part of our real world, whereas there is no independent measure of gravity. So yes, it's a cool thing to think about, but it's what can we actually prove, as far as, all these other ideas about what is, taking ourselves out of this frame of reference and is the earth rising and things like that. I can't be bothered to actually really entertain those ideas because I can't come up with any conclusion. And there's nothing wrong with the formula. This is fine because, they work because we're always talking about a mass in a less dense medium. But for example, if you get a kilogram of water, you get a liter of water, which is a kilogram, right? And you kind of contain it somehow. You don't even have to have a container. You just imagine a kilogram of water. Well, about in the air, it's a kilogram of water. But if you put that kilogram of water or that block of water or that liter of water in a body of water, then suddenly it weighs nothing. So just by changing that, you've suddenly taken away gravity, you've taken away weight. None of these things exist, and it doesn't have any different density, so it's just there. Yeah, it's like, to me, that's how I kind of see it. It's just like you can always get to that point where if you put whatever mass you have, if you put it in the same medium that is this, then it has no independent mass. It's not measurable, right? So this is what's important to understand about being, this idea of measuring gravity is just like, well, just compare everything with water. Do everything with water, yeah? And you'll see that, well, you take in and out of that medium, then that's when the changes occur. So yes, the difference in density makes a difference, and weight is just a measure of density anyway in the medium of air, in a container. And it's just like, then what? Oh, really, I can't be asked with your arguments about 9.8 meters per second acceleration. How far have you dropped something? Have you been 6 miles up in the air and dropped something and measured its rate of acceleration? No, you haven't. You're just repeating bullshit that you've read and assumptions. And you think you can come here because you know some formula, or we all know 9.8 meters per second squared. We all know that. We all know that it means nothing. We all know that apparently being able to measure this, very close to 10, by the way, has just been used to make math magic, yeah? So your arguments are falling on deaf ears, mate. Whatever your name is, Bhima Sena. Yeah? It doesn't matter. Because you don't know where any of this came from. Where did the earth come from in the first place? Where did the air come from? Where does it all come from? You start there. If you can't answer that, you haven't got a leg to stand on in the first place. Yeah? And to think that they being able to measure the rate that something falls on the earth has anything to do with the lights in the sky, that's insane. That's just cult mentality. It's like, yes, I've got the answers to life, the universe, and everything because I can drop a bowling ball from the top of a crane. Yeah. This is the superiority complex that's been programmed into these people, these globe earth trolls. Yeah, that's the problem. That's why I kind of feel sorry for you people. You people, I don't really want to say it like that, but that's the problem. You come here, and in this sense, Glenn's right. You give them a taste of their own medicine because they deserve it for being such dicks in the first place. Yeah, it doesn't take long to lose patience with you idiots. Yeah, because you don't have the ability to think. You come here with this superiority complex, and that superiority complex has been programmed into you. You believe that you're at the pinnacle of some human evolution and scientific discovery, when really we've all been dumbed down by a bunch of people with a fascination in balls. Yeah? Well, that's the problem. That's why there's, we give up arguing with you idiots. Because you can't see beyond your own indoctrination. Okay, sorry, Glenn. I'm just scrolling through the chats very slowly. So what? Yes, that's the problem. You say it's testable, it's predictable with accuracy and precision. Yes, nobody denies that. Nobody denies that you can let go of this cup and it will fall at a certain rate of acceleration. Nobody denies that. But you're the one coming here that thinking that it proves the Earth is a globe and that we're another planet moving around the sun. No, this is the problem. This is the problem. You've been convinced that being able to make a measurement or a calculation is somehow proof of something else that's totally irrelevant. It's not. That's what you have to understand. It doesn't prove anything. Yeah. Zeus got what falls faster, a ton of lead or a ton of or feathers. One man. Does our senses not create our consciousness? Without them, what are we conscious of? That's a good point. I like that. Food for thought. Yeah. Again, you can't, just like the Rona. If you can't independently measure or gravity, that doesn't mean that you put a mass and you drop a mass in the medium of air and measure the rate of acceleration. You have to be able to find a way to measure that force, isolate gravity and measure it independently, just like you would isolate a virus. Yeah, you see? But this is it. People don't need that. Most of these uninformed masses don't need that. They'll just go along with what they're told. And you're, unfortunately, Bhima Sena, you're a victim of that. Yeah, you're not winning any arguments with your idiotic repetition. Yeah. Jeff, an aeroplane or a car is a glorified Faraday cage. Okay. No, exactly, B. Messina. You say you can't make things up and present them as truth. Exactly. You can imagine all sorts of things, but you don't make claims that they're truth. Yeah, but the truth is that it's, the Earth is not a globe. Yeah. All right. And we're not stuck to it by gravity. That's the truth. So yes, apply that to your own thinking that dropping something is some kind of proof. It's not. Put a liter of water inside a body of water. All acceleration is gone. Yeah. Okay. Okay, who's that? Government something or other. Just doing my job. Cops always speed. Yeah. Ian says, Jeff, a very poor Faraday cage. It was good when cell phones would not work. Okay, I'm not sure. Ah, I see. Cars. Yeah, again, whatever, B. Messina, Monopoly is a very well understood game with lots of rules that you follow to play the game. So what? You're just talking about a model. You're not talking about reality. You have to understand this. Gravity and the globe is half-baked because no one ever discovered the globe, right? No one ever discovered curvature. And again, this is the thing, for the kind of like the, because when you're lost at sea, you want answers. And so having those answers is comforting when someone says, oh, it's because we're on a planet and we're doing this and we're doing that and we've got all the answers for you. It's very comforting. And it's horrible when someone questions that. Of course, there are a lot of holes because we don't know where we are. We don't know. Yes, one man. The fact is gravity is a well understood theory with solid laws. Yes, it's a theory. It's well understood. We all know the story. We all know it. We all know the stories. Get over it. Stop assuming that we don't. Stop assuming. That's the thing. We didn't ignore anything. We questioned it. Yeah? I found out there are no answers from the likes of people like you. Fuck your models. We don't have a model. Yeah, being able to, measuring 9.8 meters per second. What does it prove? Nothing. Yeah? So it's not, you're making a model out of, that's the thing. You're just making a model out of, that's the jigsaw piece you need for your model. But this is the thing. Any so-called flat earther will know this, that after much deliberation and much experiment and much thought, you understand that there's the globe model over here, and then there's reality. Two different things. The globe is a concept, and it's a religion, pseudoscience. Yeah? Yeah, that's right, Ian. You're absolutely right. Neil deGrasse Tyson at least admits that he doesn't know the answer. Yeah, one man, you're right. If it's a solid law, then why is it a theory? Oh dear. I can't be asked to argue with you. Sorry, just quickly go. Squirrel Sniper, hello. Jeff, so you can get a phone repeater for your car. The cell towers follow the roads closely. Yeah. Now again, it's insane to think that if you put yourself in the position of like there's however many people on the road at one time, and they're all getting their signals from a satellite. Of course they're not. One man, yes, theory equals a supposition or a system of ideas intended to explain something. And again, we said this the other day, doesn't it? Because the scientific method has this thing that, okay, you get a theory, you make a prediction, and then you test it, and if your prediction comes true, your theory must be true. This is the thing. So the fact that you can say, oh, the sun or the moon will come up or disappear at a certain time, allows the heliocentrist to say, see, my theory came true. Or the fact that you can drop an object at 98 whatever meters per second squared and measure it and make the prediction that that's how long it will take the object to hit the floor over a certain distance is like, yeah, see, my theory of gravity is true. this is the thing. They've just twisted your mind into believing that these people are following some kind of scientific method, or that they've proven their theory just because they've been able to make a prediction. Again, it doesn't dictate the shape of the Earth. All right, it's just yeah. They need to invent 96% of gravity to make it work. That's right. Exactly, Glenn. He thinks now it's just an acceleration with no explanation. Martin, right. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm gonna let me try and get to the bottom of the chat here. Yeah, Glenn. It's amazing how the Globulins think that gravity has such an influence while completely lacking any participation. No, there isn't any curve. Don't feed the troll. I'm talking to my friends on. Hello, Brian. Hi. All right. You're live, by the way. You're live on YouTube. Yeah. What are you eating?
Apple.
Apple. Good stuff. Apple a day. Disciple. Hello. Yeah. Usually. We need awareness. Hi, Jeff. The daughter's ironic that she was eating an apple just now. We were talking about gravity, Newtonian gravity. Ian, the stars never change their relative orientation. How does that work on a spinning multivector editor galaxy universe? Yeah. Oh, God. You see, again, you're just repeating the story about Neptune was discovered using the universal law of gravity. No, what happened was those people in the West, they came over to the East, where these people had already been keeping track of the stars and the wandering stars for thousands of years anyway. The people over here, the Vedics and all that, they already knew about Neptune and other things like that. But then, of course, they go over to the West again and say, oh, we're going to make a prediction that we'll be able to find this planet here, yeah, because of gravity. It's just another story made up and concocted by these people to make them come across as heroes when all they did was steal information. And that's what they've done throughout, they've just stolen stuff. Yeah.
And just in this short music video.
Blue pill. Beam has made some baseless claims and I'm ready. Yeah, exactly. Loads of claims, usual baseless claims. There's nothing... you can't have a proper discussion with these people because it's just like you can never get any intellectual honesty. Again, it's like 98, a rate of acceleration downwards for a mass in the medium of air. Fine. Okay. There's no denial that happens, but there's an admittance that we can't prove. No one can prove what causes that. It's very simple. And anyone should be able to just say, okay, yeah, I'm with you, man. I don't actually know, but I'd like to talk about the possibilities. That would be absolutely fine as a discussion. If you open it up with, I don't know either. I don't have any actual proof. All I can do is measure and describe what's happening, but I don't have any proof of the cause and effect. Yeah. And you can take it from there, and you might get some actual real answers if both people are open to discussing it on an open table in a properly scientific way. But when you get, people arguing from their cultural perspective, then you're never going to get anywhere. Nice one, Jeff. Yeah, birds have hollow bones with which less density so they can fly. Okay. Sorry, Glenn, you've got a lot going on there. I can't kind of repeat all the comments you make, but I think they're hitting the spot where you intend them to. Dorothy's removals of Cheswick and Brentford. I love your handle. I love a bit of artistic license there. We can't land on the moon. Very succinct. Yeah, I can't be bothered. Yeah, but really, again, these kind of discussions we could have, but really, I'm talking to B. Messina, whatever your name is, you know, again, about making predictions. I've already been over that. Renewed awareness. Speaking to a Glober yesterday, didn't believe moon landings, but couldn't admit he didn't know what the moon is. Interesting, isn't it? Yeah, there's this kind of like, takes a while, doesn't it? I mean, at least that's a start. That's a start. And it's just some people are just not, you know, ready for it, are they? Yeah. They're just not ready for it. And so, Glenn, I mean, you know, going back to what we were originally talking about, yeah, when you get people like B. Messina, then of course your patience quickly runs out, doesn't it? Because there's no compromise, there's no middle ground, there's none of that. Yeah. Guns of our own. Hello. Never mind the bottom of the food chain, crocodile troll, cockroaches, trolls, just a waste of money, skin and air, flat earthers, allies, and all that. Yeah, a good point, man. And I think you're right. You're absolutely right. Yes. More flat earthers every day. We're growing in numbers, you know. We are growing. Yeah. So these guys are just fighting. It'll take time. It won't be an overnight thing, but this will build, you know, just like getting doctors to wash their hands before they operated on people. It's something that will eventually become, you know, a reality in more people's minds than the globe. Yeah. B. Messina, you can't prove anything, and the day that you actually admit that is when you'll actually get more constructive conversation. But when you come in saying that you can prove this and that about things that you can't touch or can't go to or can't see or just can't prove anyway, the distances to, the size of, you know, then you're just farting in the wind. You really are. You know, get down off your high horse, because you've been programmed to think like that. You're not doing yourself any favors. You're not going to convert anyone here that's already thought all of this through and arrived at the decision that they don't know. You're not going to come with this information and convince people that you know something when we've all already been through this several years ago. It's pointless. The challenge is for you. The challenge is not to convert so-called flat earthers or truth seekers into believing they live on a globe again. That's futile. The challenge is actually for you to go through this whole process of your thinking and work out why you believe certain things that you've never been able to prove for yourself anyway. That's the challenge. The challenge is to detach yourself from your beliefs rather than repeating your beliefs to people that have already way beyond that. Yeah, stupid to come here and try and do that. Silly. You know, it's like going in. It's just like trying to hold up a cafe full of cops. You ain't gonna get out alive. Yeah. V. Thomas, we can test solar eclipses indeed what they claim in a rocket ship. Yeah. To sin by silence makes cowards out of men and women. Okay, yeah. Okay, I'm still trying to go through the chat here. Yeah. Glenn says, Nick, electromagnetism is a form of pressure meditation to electromagnetic fields distort space. Yeah, all cool with that. Yeah. But again, I can't, you know, where's this all come from? What's creating it? Is that really an alternative to gravity? I really don't know. Yeah, squirrel. That's right. And of course, he's going to deny that, whereas we've gone out and tested it, and we know this to be a fact that moonlight is colder. But no, he'll just poo-poo the idea. Too often people wrongly think of pressure as just accelerating mass. Yeah, I don't, you know, this is it. I don't necessarily go with the idea of acceleration. Things are at rest, and they're at rest. There is no, it has weight, but it's not, yeah, it's not the same as the acceleration. What's that? Guns of our own. A different related topic. My late cousin worked in 5 Hollywood FX departments from 1971 to 2016. Miniature special effects, visual effects, electrical effects, and pyro effects. NASA used many FX people. Yeah, I was just saw a quick clip from a movie back in the 80s, and even the title sequence back in the 80s was pretty stunning special effects that they had then. This is decades on now, isn't it? Ian says, if the sun is reflecting off the moon, how does that work with the inverse square law of light? Yeah, good point. Yeah, Jolly Man, hello. Right, I'm not going to even bother with the globe troll there. You can fight amongst yourselves if you need to. Elon Monk, sorry. The notion that objects that outweigh the medium that they exist in should naturally rise in the medium if it wasn't for a theorized force is dumb. Absolutely, yeah. Okay, wow, I'm really very far behind in the chat here. Okay, hang on, let me try and go down. Martin. Oh God, you see, this is just so insane that you even have to ask this. It just shows you haven't thought this through. B Mahima Sinasana is asking, why do they appear to rotate counterclockwise in the northern hemisphere and clockwise in the southern hemisphere? Doesn't make it, so what? Because they're local, because you're looking on either side of and they're not hemispheres apart from hemispheres of perspective, yeah? Either side of the equator, you're looking up from different directions. You look up this direction, then you change and look up from the other direction. It's as simple as that. It doesn't dictate they're on a globe. It's just like that is simple stuff that you can test for yourself in your living room. Go and do it instead of asking stupid bloody questions and expecting answers that you won't listen to anyway. Yeah, good point, Eon Monk. Magnets produce a real tangible force, and therefore it's not classified as a theory, unlike the Big Bang Theory and gravity. Absolutely, yes. Testable, demonstrable in reality. Yeah. Oh, no one's flower. Hello. More right, you see, this is it. You ask questions. You're just a typical example of a troller. You're asking questions, Bima Sina. You're not listening to the answers. You're not even prepared. You're not asking questions where you want to think about the answer, are you? You're just trying to ask gotcha questions. It's silly. It's idiotic. It's stupid. Yeah, you just as well be throwing mushy peas at the wall. I don't know why I thought of mushy peas, probably because I'm supposed to be serving fish and chips. Maybe I should get back to that. Tangible, yeah, V Thomas, why can't we just look at the stars and completely fabricate the reality? No one's flower. 1 kilo of water still has potential weight because it is now part of the weight of the whole water. And if you take it out, it will have some downward forces before. Yes, but you still have to contain the water to weigh it, don't you? I fell 40 feet. It felt like 2 minutes. Okay, no one's flower. Peter and Pete did some dropping of objects from a height, and it varied from 9.8. Yeah. Okay. Oh dear, you Beamer, no more bullshit. You build rockets and rocket engines in Australia, which only work because of our science. So yes, I've dropped objects from a height. So what? Doesn't dictate the shape of the Earth at all. Yeah, I know it is absurd, isn't it, to believe that, no one's flower, that the moon is constantly falling to Earth, and that's why it orbits. Totally absurd. Yeah. All right. Wow. Okay. It's been Okay. Sorry that it's taking me so long to go through the chat, but yeah. Wow. This is really it's really nice. It's turned into a nice chat and a discussion. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Wow. I'm just scrolling down to the bottom of the chat now. Okay. Sorry. Oops. This is. Oh. Wow. You've all been really. Okay. Well, I just don't have time to go through all the chats. I'll probably bore you all stiff anyway if I did, because you've all been kind of answering them for them. So, yeah. Okay. I appreciate that. I'm starting to get bitten by mozzies now, and I'll probably have to get on with some chip stuff, because we might be selling some tonight. So, thanks for coming along, and it's been great. Said it's gonna. I want to carry on. I really like the format the other day. If we can get callers in, if I can set that up again, that'd be really nice. It's really nice to hear what other people that have been doing research in their specified fields have to say. I would just love to kind of, open mic, let them say whatever they can, without too much interruption from me, because we're all each other's teachers here, and it's so good to hear. And actually, Travis, when he tuned in, when we had the just if you didn't tune in, go back and have a listen. But Travis, the plain truth, yeah. I mean, he got 12 extra subs from that, so that's fantastic. There's it's great. It's just nice to know that we're all helping each other network in that respect, yeah. So and share ideas, share research, So I like that. Hello. All right. So I'm going to say goodbye to my friends online now. You want to say goodbye as well? Okay.
Happy Easter. Goodbye.
Oh, happy Easter. Yes. Okay. All right. Yeah. So, yeah, like I said, it's Songkran here, which is the new year for the Thais. This is their big celebration for the new year. It's the Water Throwing Festival, hottest time of the year. But it's essentially, and I'll mark my words, as once the full moon comes along, we've had Ramadan here. Once the full moon comes along, the rainy season will come. It's dry as a bone right now, and the rains will come on time. There's no such thing as global warming, or what do they call it? Climate change? Or yeah, the climate changes, and it will. Oh, here come the cicadas. All right, so they know when it's time to start up. All right, so I really appreciate you all coming in, and it's really good. So thank you very much. And welcome more discussion. Let's set up some more hangouts to have some more proper discussion. All right. Take care, everyone. All right. Speak soon. Cheers.